everyone, let's welcome Trystan Falcone to an Insight Check. Hi,
Hello. Hello. It's so nice to see you.
I know. I haven't seen anyone that I work with in so long.
It's so nice.
Yes.
That's half the reason why we're doing these Insight Checks is so that we can just check in and be like, how are things going?
Yeah.
Purely selfish. Greg and I just miss people and we want to see you
catch
again.
up.
Yes. So you are a member of the Dungeons and Dragons TRPG studio at Wizards of the Coast.
Oh, so official, but yes.
Right. Yes. And what is your role there?
I am a graphic designer on the books and ancillary products, which is a fancy way of saying the things that aren't books that we do.
Right. The things like the Dungeon Master kit.
Yes. The Dungeon Master kit, or I've done a dice set, extra stuff.
Yeah. Which is
so you're doing all the graphic design around the packaging for that, as well as some of the interior stuff?
Yeah, the components too?
Yes. Yes. So I like to tell people for books, I get the ingredients and then I do the presentation for it. I get all the art and the words, and then I add the flavor, the spice of whatever the theme is for the book. And then for those other types of products, it's anything you hold in your hand when you're opening it up to get to the actual thing. So if you open a box, if you read the box, if you, in the dice products, the dice box that has all the fun foil on it and stuff. That is all the cool stuff I get to work on.
Oh, like all the gussying up of the
gussying up.
Oh, the zhuzhing.
Zhuzhing, yeah.
Zhuzhing is a word.
There's the boring, like making sure all the legal stuff is in place, but that's
Somebody's gotta do it.
That's not why you wake up in the morning. Why you wake up in the morning is to make it shiny.
Like literally shiny.
Yeah.
That's what all the foil is for. I love that. And then when we were talking to Trish Yoakum, it's just something that I think a lot of people don't know when making a book or a product like this, that like the work that you're doing kind of is like a soundtrack to a movie or something like that, right? You don't necessarily notice it, but it makes you feel something when you touch it, when you open it, when you experience it.
Yeah, I was trying to describe it to, my grandma, and she was like, so what is it? I was like, well, think about a magazine where you're looking at it and the pictures are all just square and the text is just like in a Word document. We could release books that look like that, or we could have these really pretty objects and the art is, just kind of like coming in and out of the frame, or things are bleeding over and it's a little more like immersive. And if we're doing our job well, nobody thinks about it. I spend a lot of hours doing something no one should think about. It should just feel like it's this, this tome, right? Like this object.
Yeah.
It's the emotion. So with people, creative people like you, with artists, I never know, how do you know when you've reached the right, like it's done on a page? Because there's so many cool elements, and I could over accessorize to no end. How do you know when to stop?
So there's two types of ways to know. The one is where you just like know something clicked and you're like, if I did any more, it would be too much. I could do it, but it would just feel like, why? Like if I'm making food at home, do I need to drizzle or smear the sauce along the side of the plate, or am I just going to eat it, right? Like, I don't need to do it.
This. Yeah,
I don't need to plate it. The other thing is that working artists, whether it's concept artists or layout artists or game designers, we all have deadlines. And sometimes it's taking something to the point that your art director goes, no, you're done. And you think, oh, but if I spent all these hours, I could do this one little thing. And it's done. You're making extra work for yourself. And this is beautiful. To do more would be to just ruin it. Not ruin it, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Go too far.
I think Shauna Narciso has a phrase that I love, which is like, it is adequate as hell.
Yeah. She's big on that. She goes, it is perfectly acceptable. I'm like, oh man, I need more praise than that, please.
Yeah. Yeah.
Validate me.
I asked you the question because I've had so many conversations with Shauna where I have asked for something more, more floor, more this, more that, bigger logo, and she is like, no, like it's perfect the way it is. Like she would explain like the emotional part of like why adding a little bit more would take away from what we were trying to do here. And
It's true. And they also say that perfection is the enemy of, being done. So existing,
yes,
being a book. So yeah, you have to take things to the moment. For me, like it'll either click or the art director will say, it's clicked for me. And you've been looking at it too long. Just stop. It's
you
done.
didn't hear the click.
Yeah, because sometimes you're almost too close to it, right? Where you're like, I could tinker with this forever.
Yes, that's frequently my problem. Yes.
That's that's a common thing, right? And let me just make sure. Okay, yeah, I got a 15, so I think that seems pretty true.
You weren't lying.
It's done. But you've been working on the D&D team since Theros was the first project you worked on, right?
Yes. Well, my first day I started, I was laying out the cover for the Critical Role book. And I remember being like, oh, is this just like a practice assignment?
Oh.
And they're like, no, you do it. It's like, oh, this is so exciting. And then the first book I got to touch was Theros, which was great because it was the Magic tie-in book and the card set was coming out. And I was familiar with, I had not played Magic yet. And I was familiar with all the art from working on the book. So I got to like really nerd out where I was like, oh, I want this card in my deck. Because I got to lay out the chapter and I now have an emotional reaction with this art.
Oh, that's cool.
The card's not useful to me, but I want to play it.
Of course. That's your baby. See, the emotion was that you did your job so well that you responded exactly the way that the players would.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say I'm like a little too emotionally invested in our little fantasy worlds, our elves and such.
Right, because you have been playing Dungeons and Dragons for a long time. When was the first time you picked up the dice?
The first time that I started playing was definitely, oh my God. I tried in college and I was playing 3.5 and it didn't click for me right then. And I was just playing like a human fighter because I was like, oh, I don't want to think about magic because it's like, I didn't know the system. And then fast forward when 5th edition came out proper, I was like, great, time to play for real. I'm going to do it. And so now it's been, at least it's been over 10 years at this point.
Wow.
But at one point I was playing in 3 weekly campaigns and
whoa,
that was a lot for me.
It's a lot for anyone.
Different characters in each one?
I mean, oh gosh, they're all facets of the same crystal, really. But
are they similar or different than Walnut Dengrass?
Oh yeah, so Walnut's my druid, my Circle of the Moon druid, who I love because she shapeshifts, and I love shapeshifting. But then before I had looked into druids, I was playing in a homebrew game. I was playing this sorceress who really loved polymorphing and those type of things. And so it had the same flavor, but she was like a swamp witch. So, nature's theme.
There is a theme.
Yeah.
So how did you get involved with the C team?
Oh, yeah. So I got involved with, how did I get involved with that? So Mike from Penny Arcade came up to me one time and said, hey, you know about Dungeons and Dragons. I said, I've played it some. I would like to play more. And I thought I was being approached about like a home game. And then months later, I just got an email saying like, hey, Acquisitions Inc. is doing a live weekly thing. We want to call it the C team. And are you interested in doing it? And they had just they had asked other people to do it. And I was friends with all of them. And so I was just like, oh, I can just hang out with buds and play some game. And now I've been, for 4 years now, emotionally devastated by the campaign continuously. And it is so fun. I've loved it. I've got to do so many things and meet so many people because of that campaign. It is one of those things you just like when I'm like, 80 and I'm like in my rocking chair looking out the window, I'll be like, oh, I did get to be that druid for a long time. I really think so. I'm like, I got to do this. I'm gonna think about this in my winter years.
Well, that's such a cool way to think about it, right? You're
It
like,
is.
I got to play this character and I played it well.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm looking next to my desk. I have like her sword and a relief someone made me of her. And then it's next to my Ravenloft symbol from Beetle and Grimm that I bought myself as a reward for working on the Van Richten book.
Oh,
And it's just like, it's all just like this little monument to like this time and place where D&D is a really big part of my life.
So cool.
definitely.
You're getting to play in that PAX Online this weekend, right?
Yes, I am. And it was the first time that we got to come back together as a table in 18 months or so. So it was a lot of just like, everybody giving each other hugs and being very emotional, and then getting to play. And I thought, okay, well, this game, we'll shake all the cobwebs off. But yeah, I mean, if we've all played weekly campaigns, some, the like, oh, we had to miss a couple sessions, maybe it'll be hard to like pick back up, but it's just so easy to jump back into the same routine. Yeah, it was just like no time had been missed. I was like, everybody has cooler haircuts now because, got to do something with the time we've been gone.
It's like we're emerging from our cocoons again.
Yes, exactly.
I'm glad
We're in
though
our
to
final
hear you
form.
say that you that it was easy to pick up again, because I keep thinking about, because we're so used to now doing everything virtually, that when we do come back together in person, what is that going to be like?
The only thing that I'm going to miss is virtual dice rollers, just doing addition on the fly for me.
Oh, yes.
But I've just been like, to whoever's sitting next to me, just like, you add it up. You can do it faster than I can, please. I can't. The pressure.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Yeah, I know. Especially like that. Yes, it's the pressure to add up things quickly. I'm like, no.
If I'm at home, I mean, I do math for my job every day. Surprising that I have to do a creative job and they still expect me to do math. Rude.
Yeah,
Truly rude. But like, I'll do it at home. And then the minute someone's looking at me, I'm like, it's as if I've never seen numbers before.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is so true.
And for me, it's always how many inebriants do I have by the end of the night, where I'm just like, I can't think about this. You add it. You do.
We've been playing for 6 hours and I'm so tired. Yeah. How dare you? I'm out of spell slots in game and in real life.
Right. No more spoons are left.
Yes.
And then what if like you accidentally use the wrong die? Because sometimes it's hard to tell them apart. I panic on the fly too. Like, oh God, I have to find a D8. I have to find my D8. Oh, it's my D12.
I know. That is the only thing I feel like I really got into with the digital dice rollers. I feel like I really just got into like just a groove with them where I'm like, oh, and I just click do, and I don't even need to own all the D6s that I need for this. But
right
now my chickens have come home to roost.
Well, I'm glad you guys got to get back together and play.
Yes.
There was a bit of a preview of that in June when you got to play with Jeremy Crawford and Kate Welch as Dungeon Master for the Lambert House special. How was that?
Oh, that was really great. I loved it. Got to play with Anthony Rapp and Critical Bard and AJ came through too. That was just like such a fun, rambunctious table. And my character's like very stoic, very curmudgeonly. So everybody bringing these like very fantastical, like larger than life characters. It was just very easy to just like, like play the proverbial like straight man to the comedic stylings of what was going on. I I had so much fun. Also because I'm like, oh, I've been following Anthony Rapp's whole career. So it's just like, this is amazing for me personally. What a gift.
Right.
Happy Pride Month to me personally.
We did it for you. That's right.
Yeah.
How great is it? I love that he has jumped full force into the D&D community over the last year.
Isn't this
or so.
like one of the delights of D&D also is just being like, oh, who's into it right now? Because like, it's every time there's like somebody new that's like, you know, like a bigger name, and then they bring people from other fandoms and they start crossing over and they start being like, oh, okay, well, what does like a like space exploration, like Star Trek style, like D&D game, what does that look like? And you see like these little like, you know, one-off campaigns or things that they're doing. I'm just like, yes, more weird stuff.
It's happening. It's happening all over the place. And we got D&D Live coming this weekend too. So hopefully there's even more people who want to jump in after that.
I love it.
Awesome. Well, Trystan, so great to chat with you. No lies detected on that inside check.
Thank you.
No lies detected.
Detected. That's right. Because I think I rolled the 4. So it seems like everything you're saying was on the up and up to me.
Great. Then I've done my job.
Just like with the graphic design.
Just like with it. I hope so.
Yeah.
And I have a good emotional feeling right now.
We're vibing. We're vibing.
Yeah. Everything looks good to me.
Well, thanks, Trystan. We'll let you get back to work making beep and that awesome book.
Oh my God. You just did a cuss right on the no.
Don't tell
you
your
guys
grandma.
hear that at home.
Don't tell your grandma I did that.
I won't. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks, Trystan. See you later.